All right. Good day, everyone. We are live. Another exciting time. It is time for Cuss with Gus Demos. Gus, it's been a minute since you and I ran solo. V's on vacation this week, so I felt, gosh, I didn't even have a drink yet today or anything. I felt like I should do something to celebrate
you,
this.
you should celebrate the joyous occasion. No, me and you. What has it been? It's probably been like 3 months or so since we went solo. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know. I always have a good. Don't let V know, but I always have a good time too. Just when it's me and you. Uh,
yeah, absolutely. It's always a party.
yeah, he doesn't seem like the jealous type, so I think we'll be fine. Uh, what I was going to ask you, it's good. It's good to hear the week is going well, and I think what I was going to touch base with you about, and I mentioned it towards the end with V yesterday. And you guys are so entrenched in all of it. What are your feelings and thoughts on with the purge and shit?
With the purge.
The from Alex Jones to Sean to all of it, like.
Yeah, it is. It is over the top right now. I read yesterday that Stefan Molyneux got 2 strikes on his YouTube channel.
I didn't watch the video. I saw he's on my feed, obviously, and I saw the cover of the YouTube, but I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet. So he's on strike 2 as well.
Yeah, it happened literally overnight. Like I think they went back, and this is what they do. They once you hit the radar, okay, you're there, and then they're like, let's go look at videos from like 4 years ago, and let's go find something offensive. And then that they'll actually go back and they'll red strike some of your old content. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's insane. It started, and I'm not sure if you heard this story or not, but Ken Shortkin Jr., who's one of the rogue contributors, he had previously owned the Daily Economist, and that was his that was his website. That was always what he went by, and it was like 8 years it running, and he received an actual cease what's it called,
Cease and desist.
cease and desist letter,
Yeah.
from the attorney from the Economist magazine.
What?
Can you believe that? Yeah, they're like, I imagine, because a couple of his articles actually got picked up on Zero Hedge, which was really cool. Yeah, so he's like, well, I have this, and obviously, to put up the funds to fight it, but he's had the website for like 8 years. So yeah, so now he goes by the Shotgun Economist and changed his name. So right after that is when boom, they took out Sean for I think like a week. They wiped out SGT report. It was gone.
That I remember. Well, we actually have on our LLC IRA page we have 3 videos. One of them is Will and Sean. So we kind of woke up. We found out right away. We woke up one morning at 6 a.m. First thing we do, part of our standard operating procedure, we comb through our website to make sure it's fucking working. And the fucking video is down. And lo and behold, that's when we found out. And right away, Will reached out to Sean. And then we always say of any videos on our website full time that act as like instructional videos or educational videos about the product, we keep a backup on our drives in case something like this happens. So we went and reposted the video on our site too. But I thought under the impression, I even told Will too. I'm like I bet you Sean gets back online. I'm like, he's got way too many subscribers. I'm like, give it a couple days, give it a week. So I thought, and I'm the first one to fucking admit when I'm wrong. I thought for sure Sean was an isolated incident that, it's just, they targeted SGT. He got too deep into the pedo shit or Pizzagate, whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jones went down, that's when I'm like, fuck.
That's when shit got real. Yeah.
I'm like, this is not isolated at all. This might be like the early stages of the fucking Gestapo, where they're wild. And that's what I was gonna ask. That's what I was most intrigued on your theory and V's theory. What do you attribute the timing to? They've always wanted to do this. It's like, we got to get rid of these fucking alt media guys. But it's the time.
It is, and I think when you look at like recent news, for example, the Vatican with over 300 priests and 1,000 children that were sexually abused, and apparently there's more information that's going to be coming out. So I think what it is that I think that they know that some of the criminality, some of the things that they've gotten away with, Gus, for years upon end, that the truth is going to start coming out. So I think in one portion, I think they know that, like Alex Jones, Sean, we will be carrying that. We will be talking about these subject matters where you turn on your national television and not a peep, not a word about these things happening. So I think that's one angle to come from that. And then I think the other part of it too is it's like, okay, what are they up to? What false flag event are they preparing? Is it that they don't want any type of counter narratives? You know, they want to be able to program to the people, this is what happened. Oh, Russia hacked all the ATMs, and no one can take out money out of your ATM for a couple of weeks. You know, right. Something. That's what scares me, is the systematic takedown of it. So again, there's so much madness, so much craziness going on right now that they want to control the narrative, and they understand that the only way they can do that is to shut down people like Alex Jones, because let's face it, I think his distribution network and his content is in part what did get the patriots to rise that supported Trump and actually to participate and to get him elected. They know that, they understand it. So they're like, okay, well, we have to do something. So they're completely playing politics. Don't give me this community standards BS, right?
Well, that you make a great point. It's a matter of, okay, for where my head's at is it something that a lot of the alt media, is there a certain trigger word or catalyst subject that causes that they really the powers that be and the puppet masters and the oligarchs, that they really find taboo? Or is it like you're implying, which is a great point, is it some thing on the horizon here in the future, be it a collapse, be it the midterm elections, be it whatever, that they'd rather hedge themselves in the front end because some events on the horizon that they're preparing for? Who the fuck knows? And yeah, that's the question. And dude, the Sean's audience is big. Alex Jones' audience is fuck you big. If they hit the fuck everyone big, like the Joe Rogans of the world, then I mean, if we're at that point, then, you know, I don't know what else it's going to take for independent, like, entrepreneurs to start. And me and you talked about this like a year ago or a year and a half ago. Alternative platforms that they, quote unquote, they don't control. That's gonna be key moving forward. They give them as much power. I think Krieger, Mike, who's a great friend, I've known him for like 5 years now. He wrote an article, which was pretty funny. It was like, stop whining and just get off Facebook. Where it was like, you know, I hate to admit it, but he's right. Like, we got to just find alternative platforms. If they control the monetization of the content, you know, ads, ad revenue, etc. And then not only do they control if you guys are getting paid or not with the content, they control if they're even going to allow the fucking content up. And from like Sean's standpoint, he's like, dude, they were ready. And correct me if I'm wrong, dude. They were ready to, like, he used YouTube as an archive too. Like, so like he didn't even have access to all of his content. Like, so they won't allow you to show the public. They won't allow you to make money off it. And by the way, now you can't even fucking access it anymore. That's terrifying, dude. Like, and you know what? We're guilty of it too, dude. We have shit on YouTube. We use one of our, we have our own server, but we also use G Drive for some shit. I mean, so we're as guilty of it as anyone else. Like, the fact that we trust proprietary data on a lot of these companies who clearly don't agree with us ideologically is probably a bad idea. You know, but again, I think a lot of us are still comfortable, and maybe it takes something like a Rogan going down where everyone's like, holy fuck, like we really gotta, the Titanic is literally sinking now. Like, it's time to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple of schools of thoughts. We had a great convo. I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to listen to it, but we had SGT, X22, We had Rory from the Daily Coin.
I listened to the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
And so we had a great discussion about it. And what I'm trying to convince everyone is that, why don't we go do our own CRTV type programming? Let's imagine that, how powerful that would be, Gus, of having a complete distribution network of us. And I'm not saying not to utilize YouTube anymore, because I understand how large of an audience that we can reach, utilizing YouTube, and primarily because it's easy for people, right? I mean, most of the time people don't, get concerned or involved with a whole lot until it directly, impacts them. But I think with this happening with Alex Jones and Sean, I think the audience is there. I think that they're tired of. Think about it this way: every time that we monetize one of our YouTube videos, YouTube is giving like pennies on the dollar back to the actual content creators.
Correct.
They are pocketing the majority of that ad revenue. So why should we keep feeding the beast? Why should we keep playing in their games? And that's something that we have to understand is, but you can, with lots of views and everything, you can make decent revenue and everything from the videos. But think of how much money that's contributing, towards YouTube, towards Google. And if we systematically start navigating away slowly, then we can make an impact. I mean, shoot, a year ago, they cut ad revenue down 50%. This year, it's down 25%. And then also, they're also cutting they're adjusting the algorithms to purposely not allow your content to get out there as far as, new videos, new releases. I mean, shoot, I bring up my popular playlist of what YouTube suggests me, and it's like, where the heck are they getting these things? It's like, oh, this new pop album came out. Here's a video, or here's this. I'm like, I don't watch any of that crazy stuff.
Well, dude, per your point, man, I think both the smart way to do it. It doesn't matter if it happens organically, where it's not planned, like you start going to other platforms, or it becomes a concerted, effort by people, a lot of the content creators, to slowly migrate over, where it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like, you're never going to get everyone to give the middle finger to a YouTube, for example, tomorrow, and jump ship to something else. But if it happens naturally but proactively, over time, and it doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach. Just like you guys now and many other content creators utilize numerous platforms, it'll go up on this, both for social media and blah. You would still do the same thing. You would just add more entrepreneurial platforms, or the decentralized platforms, or whatever, things that can't be fucking shut down or shut off, and hopefully, knock on wood, naturally over the course of time, the audience would migrate that way anyway. Dude, it's like what I thought was 2 years ago. I thought a lot of people in our sector were over exaggerating the severity of it, but we've reached a point now where, and Twitter's the best example of this, they just shut people down at will, and it's always people on our side. I've never seen a Bolshevik get banned off Twitter. You'll literally have Antifa showing a picture of beating someone with a bike lock or whatever, and like that person doesn't get fucking flagged. So yeah, if you're a leftist extremist and pro-violence, you're good. If you're on our side whatsoever, you're gonna get flagged. So at this point, it's not conspiratorial. It's no longer theory. It's become just objectively true. So again, hopefully we start migrating away from them.
Right. And another valid point to this too, Gus, is that think of it this way. Most of the time we relate most of this silencing of the counter views, the counter perspectives, as it aligns to either politically or, conspiracy things. But how many things have we actually discussed conspiracy wise that end up becoming true? And I think we're going to see numerous other things. Think of like, traditional medicine, for example, with, Gardasil, some of these vaccines, some of the things they're doing. Another great case is Monsanto with their, what's the name of their spray? Gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but They just lost that huge lawsuit, right? For
the class action. Yeah. No, it wasn't. I don't know. Was it a class action? But yeah, it was a big one. It was a big one.
Yeah, millions of dollars. And how many years had the alt media been here saying, hey, by the way, you know that Roundup causes cancer? Oh no, it doesn't. Here's this clinical studies that we paid $1 million for. Look, there's no cases. And so again, I think it's just the amount of truth that's coming out. I think it's the constant attacks on the lamestream media, the fact that they have a trust rating of probably less than 3%. I think people are completely understanding the fake world we live in. I was telling V this the other day on one of the shows. It's like, you know, that show, The Matrix, Gus, where, you know, like the world we live in is like everything's just like, it's like fake. It's like, it's kind of, it really is like the Matrix. You know, think about it. Our money's fake. Our government's fake for the most part. Our FD, I mean, every bit of it. It's just, again, I think there's a lot of truth that's coming out, and I think there's going to be a huge battle to control the narrative of what it does look like when things do go bad or things do go wrong.
Well, that ties into what we kind of mentioned earlier. It was like, there are certain things I know the puppet masters get really fucking jittery about. When you start going down the rabbit hole of like pedophilia, when you start going down the rabbit hole of 9/11, when you start going down certain rabbit holes, they get really fucking jittery. So that I was trying to look for common denominators, but Sean and Alex Jones have so many fucking common denominators that it's hard to narrow it down. But if you don't, this is the early stages of YouTube purging. If you want to look at a case study, the Twitter purging is much more mainstream, where they fucking Gavin McInnes gone, Milo gone, fucking Alex Jones gone. Like, they don't give a fuck. Twitter's the early. You want to see the wild west of purging? It's been Twitter the last year. But again, Twitter's more. Most of these people don't really. I mean, they care, but Twitter's not monetized the way YouTube's monetized. Right. YouTube has actual financial ramifications for a lot of these people. You guys self-included.
And there's some great disruptive things to those systems that are out there. It's just, again, I think as more people navigate away to those, people start, you know, doing DTube. People start going to Steam it. You know, some of these things, these great things have been created the last few years. And I believe also that Kim.com also has a complete new monetization program that's going to be, incentivized based upon cryptocurrencies. I think it's called K.im or something like that. And it's going to be for content creators. And, you know, usually whatever he does is usually pretty darn solid. So, you know, again, that's going to be released soon. So there's going to be disruptive things coming forward. So again, I think this is just kind of sped that fact up to a lot of people that, listen, you know, if it happens to Alex Jones, it could happen to any of us, right? I mean, and they could be wiped across, like his digital footprint was nearly like wiped out, Gus.
Dude, it was a fucking purge. And I mean, a coordinated, you know, and I listened to the first part of your guys' interview, and I think it was Rory that brought it up from the Daily Coin. It was like an antitrust cartelish purge, like it's synchronized. And that, I mean, it's like it's not tinfoil hat thinking shit anymore. It's like these fucking cocksuckers coordinated amongst themselves. Like the fucking money trust cartel, like the fucking, you know, OPEC fucks, like they got together like an IT fucking cartel and fucking shut it down. And then they obviously don't own the URL or domain, but then everything I'm seeing coming out of like Paul Joseph Watson and whatever is like, no, they're trying to fucking like attack the website too. So they're even whatever they weren't able to totally eliminate, they're attacking full stream. Like they want to get, and I think he got his start on the fucking radio, and he's still on the radio, syndicated, right? So they can't get rid of that unless the advertisers jump ship. So, but to your point, dude, that's a big fucking fish, man. So if they could, like, what does that say about the old quote about the Nazis? First they came for them, then they came for them, then they came for them, then they came for me. Like if they could go after fucking that, take out that big of a fish, no one in our sector or ideology should feel warm and fuzzy about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that, yeah, I think that's the most disturbing thing to really to think about is, what does happen. I guess, and then also something that I was thinking about is, what Rory said is in regards to, the lawsuits to be filing. I mean, I imagine companies like that would, do you imagine the thousands, if not close to $1 million that it would cost in attorney fees to go fight that battle, to go do that? I mean, they would just drag it out. They would literally probably bankrupt whatever organization was going after them. I mean, there's only so much pro bono work that I think an attorney will do. I may be wrong. And a perfect example of that, I always remind people of, do you remember when the rock band Pearl Jam sued Ticketmaster?
Dude, I grew up on Pearl Jam, of course.
Yeah, do you remember that the whole antitrust lawsuit they were mad, and I agree. I mean, they were trying to keep ticket prices lower than Ticketmaster was charging like what like a 15 or 18 bucks handling fee for what? You printing your own ticket?
Yeah, for nothing.
Yeah, right. And so that did go completely up to the antitrust and everything else like that, and I don't think anything came about it. I know there's some other ticket venue places now and everything else like that, but it's just going to get dragged out. I don't know whether I know that I don't have the time and the resources to put the energy. I'd rather look for different solutions because inevitably if they got to that platform and you file those antitrust, what would keep them from saying, well fine, you know what, as a matter of fact, YouTube, we're happy with our cable television services and we're just going to get rid of the entire video platform for live streamers and everything. We're just going to do away with it altogether.
No, dude, that if the liberals are good at one thing, if the authoritarian, communist cocksuckers are good at one thing, it's tying you up in litigation. They will, and I mean, the perfect example is what's going on with the Russia collusion fucking hoax scam fucking fake news shit. They're taking all these poor bastards, doesn't matter which one it is, Stone or Manafort or whoever, and they're just they'll even if they can't convict them, they'll bankrupt them. If they're good at one thing, it's lawyers. They got a lot of fucking liberal fucking lawyers. Some these companies do, the government obviously does, the deep state does. They don't give a flying fuck about litigation. That's part of the business model. And you start talking about content creators, people, we do well, you guys do well, everyone does well, but we don't fucking do Google well. So Google could piss lawyers and shit lawyers for the next 50 years and they're still going to be fine. So yeah, the litigation is built into the model. So yeah, I'm 100% in your camp. You could sue them, you could deal with this, that, try to win this, win that. I prefer the voluntary free market way. Give them a middle finger and find something else. Like, blow me, you're not the only game in town, suck a dick, bye. Because then it's not even violent. You're like, well, why fight? I'm not going to give you another fucking penny. Fuck off, But again, it's not going to be. It's not an overnight thing. It's got to be slow because, dude, YouTube's our bread and butter too for marketing. Not content we create, but interviews. Be it like the one I'm doing with you. I did a Silver Bullet, Silver Shield a couple hours ago. Will does Sean, Bix, whoever. Like our marketing guys are YouTube guys. So that's how we generate leads for the company. So it's a fucking big deal for us. It's our marketing stream.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, that's how we get our fucking leads. Period. So alternative platforms, have to come about, and there are a lot of smart guys on our side, and hopefully solutions escalate and we move forward.
Yeah, 1000%, Gus. Absolutely. What else is on your radar, bro?
Dude, business. The purge was my main concern. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Are you catching a lot of rumblings and everything? I mean, I think the whole Turkey lira and the global thing, and a lot of people have been producing a lot of videos lately and talking about the state of the economy. You've been catching those too?
Is this the big one?
Yeah, a lot.
So again, one thing I'm openly candid about is the fact I don't have a crystal ball, and my position is always I never tell anyone they're right or wrong, but do I think there's going to be another Lehman Brothers moment? Yes. Do I know when I see it? Probably not right away. You need the first domino could be misconstrued as an anomaly many times. Dude, internally I didn't go out telling clients this, but when China like 2 years ago started shutting down equity markets to control like at a 5 or 7% volatility swing on the bear side, that I thought that was it. Again, I didn't advise clients, get the fuck out, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
But there's a great fucking like an old ESPN commercial where it's Y2K and like Mark McGuire's like swinging a bat through the like thinking it's the apocalypse. So yeah, I bring that up because it's like I've been wrong internally before to myself. Like, is this the one? Is this the one? So the Turkey could easily be it. I just don't know if it is. You'll know when the second, third, and fourth domino drop. That's when it's like, all right, this thing's not contained. You're seeing escalation in other assets or other sovereigns or other whatever. Then you'll know. And at that point, you'll still be early because John Doe sitting on his couch watching Rachel Maddow tell him about the fucking Tran bathrooms or whatever. He's not going to know for a couple of weeks, so you're fine. I hold firm. This is very optimistic, and I try to tell even when someone's just woken up and just gotten red pilled to the whole banking this and economy and all that. I'm like, listen, rest assured, I should say, that you're going to know before 99% of the population knows, because most people don't pay attention to it. If me and you are already knowing that the Turkey situation or some other event might trigger a fucking debt deflation, a crash, an inflation, whatever, John Doe sitting at home doesn't. Like, he's not going to see it for weeks. It doesn't hit him till his financial advisor lets him know, whatever. Or he might see something on CNBC and passing or whatever. So most of the people that you guys deal with, that we deal with, are kind of already in the know. They have the finger on the pulse. So yeah, you're gonna have a week or two head start in front of everyone else anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's again taking a look at like the crypto market with the ups and downs and you know the beat down with gold the other day. I mean, these markets, and with like, I think there's so many countries, like we're talking about, like, you know, people saying, you know, F you, I don't want your YouTube anymore, I don't want this. People are kind of feeling the same way about the dollar anymore. They're like, F you, I don't want your debt. You know, I'm not taking any more debt from you. I feel I'll find different solutions. And you know, some of the solutions that are out there weren't there several years ago, like, you know, the Russian entire you know, system where they just went away from the entire Visa MasterCard platform for processing and everything. I mean, there's different solutions. So again, it's just something to be mindful. And the other question too I had, Gus, and maybe you've thought of this, or maybe you've heard an explanation and everything, but since everything like the cryptos and everything is tied specifically, you know, to the US dollar in terms of its value, what happens when that value of the dollar's not there? Does that mean that the cryptos just lose all that as well? I mean, what happens, right?
It's irrelevant. The dollar, it's totally irrelevant. The dollar is just the current, and Mike, and I hate to bring up a competitor, although, you know, we do a million other things besides gold and silver. Maloney has covered this in such great detail over the course of the last 8 years. You could just compare assets, ratio investing, and just compare assets directly to other assets. You could measure the Dow or the S&P in terms of ounces of gold. You could measure Bitcoin in terms of barrels of oil. You could measure the average home versus a share of Apple stock. So the unit of in mathematical terms, the unit of measure is just irrelevant if you're savvy enough to actually grasp that. The universal current unit of measurement is the dollar. A lot of people don't look at that at all. They do get more technical and look at other asset classes, and that's more intended to figure out what's overvalued versus what's undervalued at a given time. But yeah, if everyone, my theory is there always does have to be, if you go back to recorded human history, there does have to be some world reserve currency. What that will be, or what basket that will be, and it's usually the dominating power. Can gold and crypto replace that? I don't know. Will China replace the US one day as the world reserve currency? I don't know. Do the oligarchs want to usher in the SDR and the IMF as the reserve currency? I don't know. But usually there is one universal, and it's just for math. It's just for saying, okay, I'm sending you these fucking T-shirts. How many universal currency units are you sending me back? So it's just it's more for trade and exchange. It's like, okay, but I mean, gold could serve the same purpose. Bitcoin could serve the same purpose. But if they jump ship of the dollar, if I was forced to bet money on it, I would. You gotta acknowledge the trajectory of China right now. And I know V is much better versed on the East than I am. But you have to acknowledge that economy the last 30 years, and you have to acknowledge that world reserve currency is cyclical. There's a great graph that you see Zero Hedge post once every 3 months. World reserve currency country by year, and it shows from Spain to Portugal to France to Great Britain to the U.S. Like it's been our turn for a long since Bretton Woods, since 45. So yeah, we're eventually gonna not be it. I just don't know when. And if I was forced to bet, like, all right, what comes next? I would think it's China. Although the oligarchs, I think, would prefer the IMF. I think James Rickards is right. I think the SDR is their preference, because then it's not, voters can't fuck with the SDR. The oligarchs have the SD. The bankers and oligarchs have the SDR. No angry Americans could fuck with the SDR. Although it is a basket of currencies, but yeah, it's harder for sovereign voters to fuck with the SDR than it is the Chinese yuan or the US dollar or whatever, the pound, the euro. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, because you've obviously been hearing some of the discussion regarding Trump and the Fed, right? Where it's like I'm having issues with the Fed and everything else. They were great for Obama, keeping rates low for all those years, and all of a sudden they're like, well, we want to creep up a couple more times this year. I don't think that they advised or they were going to do anything last time, but it's just kind of interesting to hear the potential or the conversations around the Fed as it relates to the administration and discovering what powers that the president does potentially have in managing the Fed.
If Trump would go from how do I phrase this in a very in an adolescent metaphor? I would go from having a crush on Trump to being madly in love with Trump if we were to see a straight up audit. So right now Trump's like the gaga goo goo girl, like I really like him and blah blah blah. But he would go from the gaga goo goo, like the first crush girl, to like the first love girl. If he's like, you know what, these bankers been conning us for 100 years. Like, we need to see what the fuck's going on. That's when I'm like, okay, he's all in now. Like now he's full Rand Paul. Like, these are con artists. Time to see the books, cocksuckers. That's when my crush would turn into love. Everything else I like seeing. The Fed is what woke me up. That's the best way I could tell you. Like, it was 8 years ago, and Bernanke testifying is what woke me up. And he's like, it was. I'll never forget it. And I majored in fucking economics, for Christ's sakes, and I didn't know. It was Grayson, a Democrat, Florida, interviewing Bernanke after the crash, asking to see where the money went, what European banks' money went. And Bernanke, paraphrasing Bernanke, whatever the fuck his name is, scumbag, paraphrasing, said, "None of your fucking business. Like, you're not seeing shit. No one's seeing shit. Blow me." And that's when the light bulb. That was my red pill moment. That was the light bulb going off, being like, "Oh my God, the whole thing's a scam.
Yeah.
Like the whole fucking thing. You have someone testifying before Congress saying, you can't see where anything went. Below me, fuck off. It went overseas, none of your business. And this is like Congress, dude. Like, so the president can't see, you can't, no one could see. Fuck you. Like, so they conduct off-balance sheet transactions, they conduct on-balance sheet transactions, nobody's business. And it's like trying to explain that to someone. The first, dude, I've had conversations with CPAs that don't know the Fed has shareholders. Like, and that's the red pill moment. Like, if you're like, okay, the Federal Reserve has private shareholders, that should, fucking flip the light bulb for people. But most people are like, so what's the relevance? Well, what's the relevance is you could figure out why a lot of people get rich and there's no paper trail, or why they could fund every industry. There's a great, when you control money and credit, you control everything. It's why they control the military industrial complex. It's why they control the media. It's why they control California, New York. Like, when you control money and credit, you control everything. There's a great fucking, it's not great. It's actually, I'm 75% of it is propaganda. It's on the History Channel. It's The Men Who Built America is what it's called. And it's the story of Carnegie, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Ford, Edison, and these guys, a lot of them intertwined with each other, obviously.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of them were in cahoots.
What's this on the History Channel? You said
you could watch it on Netflix. The Men Who Built America, or Google The Men Who Built America, or something like that. And it's like a 6-part series. Each one of the 6 parts is one of the different oligarchs, and the most intriguing part, in the History Channel is another propaganda arm bullshit, but the most intriguing part is when J.P. Morgan buys U.S. Steel. Well, what he ends up calling U.S. Steel, the largest transaction in U.S. history, making Carnegie richer than Rockefeller for a brief moment in time. What he fails to mention is how in the fuck J.P. Morgan bought Carnegie. Because he was able to create money out of thin air. When you control money and credit, and you control the money supply, they could buy Apple tomorrow. Like, it's just air. Right. Like, we're extended. And if it's off balance sheet and the shitheads don't see the money supply expanding, they can kind of hide the inflation of it too. Like, so to get this all to make sense to people, they're like, what do you mean? Dude, they control money and credit, and they won't even let us see it. Like, it's off balance sheet, shithead. You can't see anything. Like, you wonder where all this money comes from, all these oligarchs pop up from, all these financiers. It's credit, and you can't see it. They won't let you see it. You can't audit it. Like, that's the scam. The scam is they control it all. And that was my red pill moment. And the problem is when you first get red pilled, you freak the fuck out and try ramming, all the last 250 years of Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson fighting central bankers down everyone's throat, and they kind of are turned off by that. So if you could grasp money and credit, you could grasp it all. Everything starts to make sense. Absolutely.
What's new with perpetual assets? What's going on? You guys?
Business is great. Interviews. I'm probably going to shoot up to LA for a crypto conference here next month. Just to attend. I've never been. Yeah. So looking forward to that. Got New York. Hopefully you're able to make it out in September.
Corner.
Yeah. I hope V is good for a beer or two. So excited about that. Narco Poco's back in the schedule again. In February, that's lined up. Chicago for Christmas. Yeah. Dude, no complaints, man. Everyone's business is good. Fucking family's healthy. I got nothing to complain about. Life is pretty good. Besides the cocksuckers, the social media IT oligarchs.
Awesome. Gus, plug your website, how listeners can learn more about your work, and we'll close it out.
Perpetual assets. And I'm changing one. Put it in a search engine. You could look for it in a search engine or plug it in a URL. perpetual assets, retirement accounts, crypto, metal. Do all the research you'd like. Drop us an email, drop us a call. Perpetual assets.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Please like, share. Again, appreciate the comments in there. Gus, a lot of fun today. Appreciate you. And everyone be safe and take care.
Likewise, buddy. Likewise.